Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, if you're a focused learner trying to master Arabic, you already know the journey is incredibly rewarding. But let's be honest, it is also an absolute minefield of phonetic booby traps. Today, we're taking a really fun, highly practical, and honestly essential look at mastering Arabic pronunciation. Because this isn't just about sounding like a native speaker, it's about preserving the sacred, beautiful meanings in Islamic texts. We're going to fix those stubborn accent mistakes, save you from some massive embarrassment, and hit all the right notes.
But first, I need to give you a massive warning. Picture this. You're reciting some beautiful Arabic poetry, or even worse, reading the Quran, and you want to say the word for heart, which is qalb. But your throat slips, out pops a soft English K sound, and you accidentally say kalb. Well, congratulations, you just romantically or spiritually referred to a dog. This is literally the ultimate pronunciation disaster, and honestly, it happens all the time when non-Arabs mix up that deep, heavy qaf with the light, familiar kaf.
So, the crucial point is this. Arabic is a deeply phonetic language. Mispronouncing a single letter doesn't just give you a cute foreign accent. It actively changes the entire meaning of the word. When you're reading Islamic texts, precision is everything. Just a slight shift in your tongue placement can turn a word of deep spiritual significance into something completely unrelated or, unintentionally offensive. That brings us to Section 1, disastrous meanings, and when one sound changes everything. So the root of the problem here is that non-native speakers naturally want to swap unfamiliar, difficult Arabic sounds for comfortable ones from their native languages. It's basically a survival instinct for your mouth, but in Arabic, it just leads to massive confusion.
Here's a classic mix-up for you. Think about the difference between the deep, raspy ha and the lighter, airy ha. If you're at a restaurant asking if the food is halal, meaning acceptable or lawful, you absolutely need that deep throat friction. If you just use an English H and say hilal, you are suddenly asking the waiter if the food is a crescent moon. Crazy, right? A simple breath completely changes Islamic terminology.
Moving right along to Section 2, Secrets of the Deep Throat Letters. To fix these hilarious but dangerous mistakes, we have to travel into completely uncharted territory for most of us, the throat. Think of the Arabic vocal tract like an unexplored cave system. Most English speakers just hang out right at the cave entrance, the lips and the front of the tongue. But to speak Arabic correctly, we have to go deep into the caverns.
In this cave system, there are exactly 6 throat letters, and they're perfectly distributed across 3 specific zones. Way down at the upper throat, the deepest point near your glottis, we have the hamza and the ha. Then, moving slightly up to the middle throat, we find the ayn and the ha. And finally, at the lower throat, right at the very back of the mouth cavity, we get the ghain and the kha.
Okay, let's dive into this middle throat section because it contains the notoriously difficult ayn. This sound just does not exist in English, so to master it, you need to follow a few weird steps. First, breathe in. Second, slightly constrict your throat muscles. And third, really squeeze your voice from deep inside your neck. It feels almost like a gentle grunting sound. If you don't use those specific muscles, you'll end up just saying a plain ah and entirely deleting a crucial letter from the word.
And this brings us to a really massive phonetic mistake that many non-natives make without even realizing it. Think about the name of the prophet, Muhammad. Notice that ha right in the middle? Yeah, that is not an English H. It's actually pronounced from the middle throat with a dry, breathy push. Think of the exact sound you make when you're trying to fog up a mirror. Mastering this specific ha is absolutely vital for proper Islamic respect and correct recitation.
Now, moving up to the lower throat, we find sounds that are honestly just plain fun to practice. For the vein, you basically want to pretend you're gargling mouthwash, but without the water. Get that weird vibration going in the back of your throat. And for the cha, think of the Scottish word loch or the German bach. It's an exhaled hiss, almost like a really light snoring sound. Just focus on the friction there, not your actual voice.
All right, get ready because we're about to tackle the greatest mystery of the Arabic language, the hamza. Is it a letter? Is it a vowel? Well, it's actually a glottal stop. The absolute best way to understand the hamza is to say the English phrase, uh-oh. You know that abrupt stop right in the middle, where your vocal cords suddenly close and open? That exact stop is the ninja-like hamza.
But wait, the hamza has a secret identity, the hamzat al-wasl, or the connecting hamza. And this version is a total ninja. It appears at the beginning of words, but if you connect that word to the one before it, the hamza completely vanishes. For example, in the phrase Bismi Allah, in the name of Allah, the word for name is ism, which starts with a hamza.
but in the actual flow of recitation that Hamza drops out entirely, acting purely as a stepping stone to keep the rhythm perfectly smooth. Okay, Section 3. The letter Jim. Heavy versus light sounds. Have you ever wondered why your voice might sound a bit thin or flat when you try speaking Arabic? It's probably because you haven't been to the letter Jim. Arabic actually features an entire parallel universe of sounds, known as emphatic or heavy letters, and they require a pretty serious vocal workout. Arabic has this beautiful mathematical symmetry to it. On one side we have the soft, light sounds, sod, dod, ta, and the tha sound, like in that. But on the other side we have their heavy, emphatic counterparts, sod, dod, ta, and za. Both sides use roughly the exact same front tongue position, but the heavy letters carry this deep, resonant, room-filling thickness.
So how exactly do you pump iron at the letter Jim? Well, here's your workout routine. Start by saying the normal English letter. Now drop the front of your tongue slightly and consciously raise the back of your tongue towards your soft palate. You know, the roof of your mouth near the back? Doing this traps the air and creates a deeper, fuller, vibrating sound. Your mouth should literally feel physically tense when pronouncing these.
And trust me, skipping your mouth workout has real consequences. Take the verb da'aba, which means to repent, a profoundly important religious concept. But if you apply the emphatic tha, making it heavy, it becomes da'aba, which just means to be good or pleasant. A tiny adjustment of the back of your tongue literally changes the entire trajectory of your sentence.
Next up is Section 4, the short and long of it, covering vowels and tongue sounds. Let's transition from those heavy consonants to something that seems harmless but is actually full of subtle dangers, vowel lengths and tongue placements. In English, dragging out a vowel just makes you sound dramatic. In Arabic, it completely rewrites the dictionary.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Take the word kataba, which means he wrote. Those are all short vowels. But if you hold that middle ah sound for just a fraction of a second longer, literally one extra beat, it becomes kitab, which means book. You have quite literally turned an action into an object just by stretching a single vowel. So always, always hold your long vowels noticeably longer than your short ones.
Now let's talk about the tongue. For these three specific letters, tha, dal, and the heavy za, your tongue must physically come out of your mouth, resting lightly right between your teeth. If you keep your tongue tucked behind your teeth out of habit, you're going to accidentally swap these letters for an S or a Z, and once again, your meaning will be entirely lost. You've got to confidently put that tongue out there.
Which brings us to Section 5, the final boss, the language of the dad. Prepare yourselves, everyone. We have arrived at the final boss of Arabic phonetics. It is a letter so notoriously difficult, so incredibly unique, that the entire Arabic language is actually nicknamed after it. Let's face the dad.
So the dod is a heavy, emphatic d sound, but it is absolutely not made like a regular English d. To conquer it, you must press the side of your tongue against your upper molars with real tension, while also raising the back of your tongue and tightening your throat all at once. Non-Arabs often just say a plain English d, which completely destroys the essence of the word. It requires serious muscle control. As this great quote from Tariq al-Jannah reminds us, this sound doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Mastering the dad isn't just a phonetic victory. It connects you directly to the unique spiritual and historical beauty of the Arabic language and the art of tajweed. It truly is a badge of absolute dedication. All right, let's put all of this into practice with a viral tongue twister challenge. Try saying this out loud. Which translates to, a cat cut my heart into a piece of cloth. Pay close attention to all those deep, heavy coughs and emphatic thas. And remember, keep the cough deep in the throat, or you'll accidentally tell everyone a dog cut your cloth instead of a cat. The good news is, fixing these mistakes isn't magic. It's just muscle memory. So here is your action plan. Shadow native speakers by repeating exactly what they say right after they say it. Record your own voice to catch the mistakes you just don't hear in your head. Practice tajweed rules regularly with short chapters of the Quran. And finally, literally look in the mirror to make sure your tongue is actually coming out for those specific letters. So here's my challenge to you. Pull out your phone right now and record yourself reading that tongue twister. Can you survive the heavy dod and the deep cough without turning a heart into a dog? Embrace the mistakes. Hit the letter Jim daily, and you're going to be speaking with confidence, clarity, and absolute respect for the text in no time. Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Now get out there and go practice.